Hey, everybody. I'm Rosey Edeh, and I'm championing the fantasy novel The Midnight Bargain by C.L. Polk on Canada Reads. And Chelsea's with me right now. Hey, Chelsea.
Hi, Rosie.
This is so exciting to
Oh, it
talk
really
to
is.
you. Oh, to dive into this book that has been my savior, The Midnight Bargain. You know, in the dead of winter, you get to read a fantasy novel that takes you to another place and gives you hope, and there's adventure and thrills, and there's this, oh my goodness, there's a protagonist that I just love. Her name is Beatrice, and this whole world that's colorful and magical. Okay, so Chelsea, tell me this. What inspired you to write The Midnight Bargain?
Um, a few things. I was mostly inspired by the desire to kind of break away from the things that I was supposed to be doing. The Midnight Bargain was kind of me like sneaking out the bedroom window in the middle of the night to go have an adventure. Um, I basically wanted to write something that I felt was fun and kind of indulgent. And I was like, I want to write about like big pretty dresses
Yes.
um and like the whole like marriage hunting season, and I want to write about ritual magic, and I decided ultimately that I wanted to write a book about women's power, about women having agency, and about wanting something that the world tells you that you shouldn't want or are not allowed to want, but you're going to go after it anyway.
You know, it's really fun that you touch on that right off the top, okay, about women's power, women's agency, because you write literally about the importance of a woman to literally take her power into her own hands, and you do it through the world of magic. I mean, that was obviously very important for you to tackle that.
hmm
Tell us
I
why.
Well, I mean, I write fantasy novels because I like the idea of making up worlds with different possibilities. And I just love magic. Magic is like this,
Yeah.
it's this thing where it's like you can literally make your wishes come true. Using certain techniques and everything, but you can just basically put a desire out into the universe, and the universe listens to you. Like, come on, who doesn't want this? Um, and so I wanted to use this this world that wasn't like ours. It was like more old fashioned than ours. It was more elaborately mannered than ours. And I wanted to talk about women's power in a society that is kind of like right on the threshold of, you know what, we should probably, feminism's a great idea. Let's start working on that. Um, and I basically used magic as this cool thing I like, but also to kind of stand in for your engineering degree, if that
Huh.
makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. This unlikely thing, this thing that's not associated traditionally with women. Is that what you
hmm
mean when you were, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about Beatrice, the protagonist.
Mhm.
Where did Beatrice come from, and how did you develop her?
Well, when I first started, all I knew about Beatrice was that she really, really, really wanted this book in this bookstore. And the reason why she wanted the book was because it was a grimoire. She needed to get her hands on it in order to increase her power. That's all I knew about her. Everything else kind of developed as I was kind of exploring the character. And then I was just sort of like, why does she want this? And it's like, she wants it because um, it's the best thing in the world to her. She's not supposed to do magic, but she's been messing around with it and she thinks it's great. And she doesn't really want to stop. And she uses basically her desire as the key ingredient to solve all of her external problems, because she has problems with her family's social standing, and their financial situation is very bad. And she's like, I can use magic for this. But the thing is that I know a lot of us, when we were growing up, we wanted to do something, and a lot of us were told that we could not do it, or that we shouldn't do it, or that it wasn't wise, or it wouldn't make us any money, it wouldn't give us any security. I mean, I was told not to be a writer because I, would starve in a garret, and that I should do something sensible like public accounting. And even though public accounting is like super cool and you can do really,
Sure.
really neat things with it, what I really, really wanted to do was write. I wanted to solve my life problems with this thing that I loved. What? Everybody's like this. It's like you were growing up, you wanted to be a hockey player. You were growing up, you wanted to be a scientist. You were growing up, you wanted to be an actor. Like, we all have these dreams. And I think a lot of us could benefit from thinking about those old dreams. And if we're not doing them, is there a way to kind of bring them back in our lives? Can we put the ice skates back on and go play a game? Like, can we continue to connect with this thing that made us happy when we were growing up?
Yeah. Can you tell me what the warding collar represents to you? And I'll just explain it. When I read about the warding collar, which is a collar that women who are of a certain age, childbearing age, need to wear once they're married, because that means they're going to bring forth children into the world. And heaven forbid that they don't have the warding collar on, because then the babies will come out possessed with these spirits, because, women can't control their own magic. So they have to put the warding collar on, and then everything is dimmed. Color, light, sound, taste. And the world just goes whoosh once you put the warding collar on, and now you're tamed. I actually had a physical reaction when I read that. I was like, wow, that is just the negative voice inside of you taking away all your hopes and dreams and telling you can't do this, you can't do that. What does the warding collar represent to you?
It's a bunch of things. For me, the warding collar is kind of this idea that women absolutely need to be controlled because they are dangerous. If you leave them to their own devices, they will get up to all kinds of mischief, trouble, and danger. And that for their own safety, you have to control them. So there's that going on. It's also kind of a status marker. If you're wearing this elaborate silver collar around your neck, everybody who looks at you knows that you have magical power and that you are married, and you're probably married to somebody with a lot of power and status, and they probably shouldn't mess with you as a result. The other thing that I was thinking about with the collar was kind of this is a little bit of an out there symbol, but it kind of represented to me a lot of the ways that I was told to not be my full self, that I had to make myself small, that when I was a little girl, I was highest marks in the class, really fast reader, picked up on stuff, got good grades, and I was very proud of my academic achievements and my curiosity and all of this other stuff. But I was told that I had to tone that down because I would be threatening to boys. And okay, I kind of was like, sounds fake, but I kind of bought it. And the result of buying this was that I had to be someone that other people expected me to be and not who I was myself. And that when I was kind of experimenting with this, when I was like, oh, this is dumb, if I'm going to be a smart, nerdy bookworm who likes music, I'm just going to be that. And people are just going to have to cope.
Wow. Chelsea, that just brought me back to when I was younger in high school. And I have a deep voice, and my voice was pretty much like this in high school. But what I would do is, I'd answer the phone. I go, hello, because I didn't want my deeper voice to come through, because boys would make fun of me. Oh, you sound like a man. And and I felt very embarrassed. And so I wanted to be lighter and different. You know, I wanted to fit into what people thought this box that they thought was acceptable. And so I raised my voice until I started running track, and I started to feel myself and my power. And then when I finished running track, finished representing Canada, I got into broadcasting. And then they said, "You have a great broadcasting voice. Like, let me hear it." I went, "Whoa, really?" And then it was like all of a sudden this release. Oh, so I can speak in my, my real deeper voice. And
It
now
can
I
really
love
be
it.
me.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh. So I totally can relate to what you're saying about people like around you saying, "Oh, don't be too this, don't be too that, or else they won't like you or they'll feel uncomfortable." Now it's a big old too bad. I am me, which is
Yeah.
so good. So you got to tell me this. What was it like when you found out that your book, The Midnight Bargain, was chosen for Canada Reads?
I I had to stop for a second. I didn't say anything for a few seconds because I was running the last few moments of the conversation back in my head to make
Wow.
sure that I had actually heard what I thought I had heard.
Oh my gosh. It must have been incredible.
It was really incredible. And the thing is that I was bursting with it, and I was just kind of like, I was washing my dishes and I was like, I'm on Canada Reads, I'm on Canada Reads.
Yes, yes. um, do you have any tips for me in championing the Midnight Bargain? Like,
Um,
I think it's gonna get pretty intense up there. What should I do?
let's see. I think one of the things that is really important is to kind of know what the core of your reasoning is and always go back to it. Always go
Okay.
back to it. Always know like your top three. Always bring it back to that. Um, when you're when you're in the conversation about that, link everything. Link everything to something that is pertinent because this great book you read. um, and that if you hold on to that core and you're always linking back and you're always moving forward, I think that's the way to go.
That's great advice. That really is. Okay, I'm definitely taking that to heart. I'm Rosey Edeh, and I will be championing The Midnight Bargain by C.L. Polk on Canada Reads, March 8th to the 11th on CBC.